Hello guys, Brandon Carey here, and today we are hopefully going to finish our search for Dragon Daddies in Spyro the Dragon. Last we cut off, we were the Dreamweaver's world. We had just finished Dark Passage, and we have 2 more levels left in Dreamweaver's before we move on to the final world, which is Gnasty's world. So we are in the final stages of the game, and if we are good enough, we should be able to just finish out our journey from here. Just make sure that, yes, we finished Haunted Towers, Icy Flight, Dark Passage, which means we have Lofty Castle and Jacques left to defeat here in the Dreamweaver's world. Lofty Castle, memory serves, is right over here. Yes. And this is my favorite level in the game, but that's probably more for the soundtrack that goes this level and less for the level itself. The level itself is fine. It's not bad, but it's not particularly noteworthy. But its soundtrack is so good. It's really good. Honestly, like, this whole game soundtrack is like top tier, but this, I have to give particular notice to this level for its soundtrack. Little enemy there, as you can see, they're big guys, means you can't charge them, and their armor means you can't flame them, so the way you kill them is by blowing and destroying the balloon before so they fall to their untimely demise, since there's an infinite abyss below us. Also, fairies are a strong gimmick to this stage. As you can see, we just saved a fairy. And if we rescue 3 of them, we can get finish it off. Now we've rescued 3 dragons, or 3 fairies, and that whirlwind is now activated so we can proceed. Dragon saved.
Fairies are always on your side.
I like the little sleepy doll with that dragon. It's a nice little touch. Again, the way they improved in this game, just with some visual touches. Spyro indeed, Xenochrist. Welcome to the chat. Hopefully, this will be we'll be able to finish up today, because we're towards the end of the game. We're in Dreamweaver's world, so hoping by the time we end at 10 o'clock, we will already be beating Gnasty Gnorc on our way to the finale. You too? I was just talking about this. Yeah, this Lofty Castle's particular level has my favorite soundtrack out of probably the entire trilogy. Like, I love the song. Do 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 do. Like, this whole game soundtrack is one of the best, but this level in particular has a banging soundtrack to it. Let's save my friend Baruti here.
Thank you for releasing me.
They injected so much life in this remake. It feels like such a living, breathing world more than it used to be. You gotta give the developers some credit where it's due. Also, yeah, I love these guys. And for those of you who haven't played this game before, like, Xenochrist and I know what's up, but, if you get too close, those fools will smack you. You'll get smacked. They are enemies. Do not make the mistake of assuming that they're good people. Don't hit me from here. Yeah. Oh, this game. I'm the guy who, like, roughly once every year or 2 years I go back to play this particular Spyro game. Like, out of all of the Spyro games, this is my personal favorite. I don't think the other two are bad. I think Ripto's Rage, like Hover and all that, was an incredible change. But I just something about the original Spyro Dragon, it just makes me happy. Puts me in the good place. Also, I love doing this. I love this slide. This slide feels so good when you get it right the first time. I like that you're not really in any danger, but if you're skilled, if you wait for the right time, you can just do that all in one glide. You don't need to go back and do it again. There's no real threat to you. It's just like, here, if you're good enough, you can do it this way.
Ah, Spyro, thanks. Supercharge will get you to new places here in Lofty Castle, too. See where it takes you.
That is one very attractive dragon. Holy crap. Yeah, there are some tricky gems in the Dreamweavers area, and this in particular. When I started playing the trilogy, I didn't realize that all of the games got the gem finder ability that they had in Spyro 3. It's because I haven't put that in all the games. So I spent a very long time in this area looking for the last couple of gems. That did happen. Oh, I see what I have to do. Okay. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Actually, it doesn't really matter if I do that or not, because, yeah, that is one of the things that they added that I really do appreciate, because... Oh yeah, I beat this whole game the first time without realizing that I could retroactively... It wasn't Ripto's Rage, it wasn't until I tried to do it in 3 after getting through the level where you unlock it, that I realized that it's something that I looked in the controls, it's not something I could just do all the time. And I was kicking myself after that, because like, I can't believe I went through all the hell of finding these gems without realizing that I didn't have to. I just didn't have to. But like, props to them for doing that, because there were some frustrating parts of this game when it came to finding like the last 2 or 3 singleton gems that you were missing. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a godsend. I would not go back. Although, part of me, like, I understand why I didn't do it, because that's asking a lot, but part of me kind of wants there to be, like, the Halo, Master Chief Collection thing, where you can hot swap between PS1 and PS4 graphics, just so that you could see in detail the work they put in. Because I looked back at the Beastmaker's Homeworld, the PS1 version of it, just to write up the piece for Part 2, which hasn't come out yet. The Part 2 of the stream, which I haven't posted on my YouTube channel yet. And there's a lot that my mind filled in that I assumed was there and wasn't. Even though I already knew that they did a lot of work. Just seeing the side-by-side of the PS1 version to the PS4 version, it was honestly a little shocking. Just how much work they had to do. Not just in terms of remaking this game, but in interpreting what the designers were going for in terms of scene. And reimagining it to fit that new interpretation. There's a lot of work that went into this remake that I didn't even realize was there until way after I played it a couple times. And I understand why I didn't do that, because like that's just a practical, like a coding nightmare. But part of me really does kind of want to see it. Okay, I missed them then, so we're gonna have to find them. Fortunately. Oh my god, I missed 3 little oneers over here. All shiny and at the start of the level, because I didn't look back. There we go. See, speaking of Xenochrist, I'm sure you did that a couple times, because I did that during my original replay. Where you just didn't see gems at the start of the level and had to go back. Yep, always happens. It's good to play this game again. It's real fucking good to play Spyro again. It's real good. I don't blame you. I think I did that too a couple times actually. Looked up like a YouTube run of that level. I think I did the same exact thing in my first playthrough because I didn't realize I could just do this and point. Oh god, I felt like it. And I will tell you, the moment I realized I could just do that, I felt like a complete moron. Felt like a complete dipshit. Now it's time to confront Jacques. Confront. Because, you know, Spyro 1 and bosses. Oh, you're armored. I will say, one minor critique of this version of the game is, I know these are small enemies, but if I wasn't aware of that, I would assume that I can't charge them. Or I would assume that they were big enemies. Like this metal guy right here, I might assume that this is a big enemy. Yeah, the bosses got better in 2 and 3, but I can't rightly say they ever got good, if you know what I mean. And thankfully, they're not something that, like, it's not so bad that it completely ruins the game. Like, they're just kind of mediocre bosses. But And as a result, like, the rest of it, the platforming, all of that, holds up. But the bosses are, like, regrettably a very weak aspect of this game. That's just the fact of life. Alright, I think I have to, that's you. I'll lower that. I can beat on this. There we go, that's how you do it. Yeah! Yeah, I remember Ripto being a bit of an interesting problem in this version of the game, and I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to, when I replay it,
Take care.
I'm going to have to I'm going to take a look and figure out why that might be. Because I am definitely curious, because I'm going to play this and the Crash remakes on stream. Like, after this, my plan is Crash 1, then Spyro 2. Then Crash 2, then Spyro 3, then Crash 3. So I am curious to see how I'll perform on stream with that boss, because I remember having some difficulty with it when I played through it this in the HD remake the second time, or the first time. No one plays Bubsy 3D. You're mad. That's not how it's happening. Oh, bye. I guess I'll die. Whoops. I think tree chops aside, that's my first actual death on that was just on accident. Wow. Yeah, I think I've been doing pretty well with this run actually. Alright, and glide over there. Oh. I think I was just a little off my trajectory. Oh well. Them's the breaks. That's a platformer for you. I think the thing that most impresses me about Spyro, Dan Reichert at Giant Bomb, when he played through the Re-Night Trilogy, this was his first time playing through the Spyro games, and he made a note of how, despite this being like a PS1 era game, and PS1 platformers are not known for being like for holding up, this game holds up extremely well. This trilogy, even in its current HT form, doesn't have a whole lot of issues gameplay wise. It's like even if you account like even if you don't account for the fact that it's a PS1 era game, this is still a very, very strong 3D platformer. There's a key. Don't remember where the chest is though. When we get to Crash, Crash you have to kind of forgive a bit more, but Spyro is kind of just like, Spyro, he do what he do. Like you'll see when we start playing Crash 1, if any of you are unfamiliar, and I think both of you are familiar with that game, so, but like for people watching this after the fact, Crash 1 is rough. Crash 2 and 3 less rough, but still fairly rough. But, like, even at its worst, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and actually say that Spyro 3 is the worst of the trilogy. Don't hate me. It's never bad. It never gets to the point where it's actually just bad. In the worst case, it's just kind of okay. Interesting. I would have thought that Mario 64 would have held up pretty well. But... Oh. Pause.
Any advice before this battle?
Advice? A wise dragon once told me aim high in life, but watch out for flying boxes.
Huh?
That is sage advice right there. I wasn't a 64, I wasn't a Nintendo 64 guy, I was a PlayStation guy, so, like, my opinion of Mario 64 is worth less than shit. But it is plain as day that Spyro holds up, very well. Remember this boss being, like, just slightly more of a pain than the other bosses, but just slightly. He was actually, he's, like, as you can see, he's still not much of a challenge. I'm kind of blowing my way through this without much hassle. Oh, bye. Like, this is probably the closest thing that Spyro 1 has to a real boss. Am I missing something? Oh. Yeah, I imagine part of why Mario 64 doesn't hold up is that it was still, in that era where we were figuring out how platformers worked. Crash 2 is my favorite Crash game. Crash 1, I like it. But I will never, like, I will not 100% that game probably ever. I just don't care enough to put in the effort to do so.
Well done, Spyro. I hope you know what lies in store for you. Gnasty's world is not the friendliest
I wasn't a
place
GameCube
you'll
kid,
ever
so I never
find.
played Sunshine, but
Are you ready to go?
I would be curious to play it myself and see what my opinion of it is, because I've heard mixed things. I've heard both good and bad things about Sunshine. I 100%ed Crash 2 and 3, but never the first game. I was never able to get to the to 100% on Crash 1 because they fixed a problem with it in the original in the remake, and we'll get to that problem when we cover Crash 1, but for a very good reason, the remake version of Crash is just easier than the original version. Also, remember at the beginning the dragon said we have 5 homeworlds, or was it 6? The reason for that, or was it 6, is because this is the 6th homeworld, but it's not really the dragon world, it's Gnasty's world, so it's dubious whether or not it counts as a quote-unquote dragon world. And you'll notice a theme with the dragons we rescue here as well.
Hey, didn't I already free you?
You're in Gnasty's world now, Spyro. And you are the dragon that must defeat him.
Bring him on. I'm ready.
Reach the exit in each of Gnasty's lands. Then you can challenge the Gnorc himself.
Yes, the dragons in this world are all dragons that we have previously rescued. They're all dragons from the rest of the game that are here ostensibly the kind of implications they came here to attack Gnasty and then got trapped again. Kelly, I'm going to play the Insane Trilogy over stream. So if you want, you are welcome to just kind of wait and then watch me play it and then get an opinion of that as I'm playing it to see if you want to play it yourself. Yeah. Yes, Xenochrist, exactly. I like the idea that after you freed them, the dragons did at least try to do something, as opposed to just kind of sitting on their ass doing nothing. It does give them a bit more life than they would have otherwise had. And as the Dragon Delbin did tell us, in this level, in this world, unlike other worlds, we do have to go through each level. We do, we cannot proceed until we've hit the return home, on this level. As you recall, in previous levels, when I got 100%, I would hit exit level here and just leave a couple times. If I do that here, I will still have to come back here and then actually hit the exit. Kind of like how you need to beat one level to unlock the Toasty boss fight. In this particular homeworld, we cannot proceed until we've hit the level complete exit in a level. Otherwise, we have to go back and do it again because it doesn't count. Even if we otherwise 100% it, we do have to at least reach the end as a minimum requirement. Whereas other homeworlds have like a requirement you need to capture save X dragons or acquire X treasure to advance. This world is the final homeworld. There is no other homeworld. The only way the game has to track that we've done stuff in this level is to force us to actually complete them. It's not a glitch. I can understand, like, it's a legitimate feature. And I know why they did it, because they do want you to at least complete the level. Even if you don't 100%, they want you to at least finish it. They have no way to actually force you to go through levels unless they just say, hey, you can't do the next level until you beat the first one. It's the only way that this actually kind of works. Unless... Because then you have people like me who have completed every other level up until now. And no matter what requirements you set up, basically I probably already have acquired the sufficient requirements, like enough dragons, enough treasure, enough eggs, just to satisfy that condition. So the only way you could ever force someone like me, who is the completionist, to play through the level is to just say you have to complete the level.
Keep up the good work, Spyro. I expect Gnasty's really starting to worry about you.
I'd be shaking in my Gnorc boots if I were him.
Yeah, when I play through this casually, I do make a point to hit the exit level sign. But you don't, like, if you're speedrunning or you're just going for the 100% completion, like, that only matters in exactly, like, 2 situations, and this is one of them. This just happened to one of them, and that's, like, interesting little factoid. But other than that, Xenochrist, I am with you in that I basically always finish the level. Because that's just who I am, that's what I like to do. I like to complete things. And there's something that's oddly satisfying about just hitting the return home. I'm not sure why it's satisfying to me, but it is. Making some pretty good progress here, too. They served us 400 gems here? Yes, 400. Miss. I do also like that, when it comes to things like ramming into barrels or firing cannons, the game realizes that that kind of precision aiming is not really practical or something that you can or should be expected to do with a controller. So it does have like a fairly generous auto aim. Like if you get it like roughly in the right space, we can figure out where you wanted that to go and just kind of give it to you. So that is appreciated, and so are little things like this little. I like little chains like that. Some of my favorite little parts of Spyro are those little chains where you can set it up just right and then take out like a whole horde of enemies in one charge or one flame. That's really satisfying.
Wow, I never thought I'd be rescued, especially by such a little dragon. What I mean is, I always believed in you, Spyro.
You gotta believe.
That's not, I've talked a bit about some of Tom Kenny's like questionable line reads in the remake. I think that is the most glaring one, where it's such an obvious reference to Parappa the Rappa's "You Gotta Believe," and it's just ever so slightly off that it's kind of jarring. Love doing that. But it's ever so slightly off. It's not like a huge problem. It's just something that is just... I guarantee you're right, Kelly, in that he has probably never heard of Parappa the Rappa, but that's a direction problem. That the director probably should have informed him of what the cadence should have been. So I never played Parappa the Rappa, aside from, there was a demo of it way back. There is no reason for me to blow up that chest with the barrel instead of the key, other than that I can and want to. It's fun to launch an explosive barrel into something. Yeah, that's it. It's fun to do. Oh yeah, like to be clear, my objections are only to like 2 or 3 very specific lines. The actual, like, the voice acting is overall extremely solid. And I don't want that to be mistaken for, like, this game is garbage, because there's a couple, like, 3 line reads that are a problem. It's just, like, 2 or 3 of them total. But it's something that I personally picked up on. Yeah, the Parappa Rappa is about a rapping dog who's in love with a girl who is a sentient anthropomorphic flower. That is the actual plot of that game. It's a rhythm game. I never played much more than a demo, but like, it's something that I have been aware of for a very long time, because it was in the demo disc of the PS1 that I happened to have. When I got my PS1. As you can see, now that we've cleared Gnorc Cove, Twilight Harbor is now open. We should be able to finish by Yeah, well, we finish well before the stream. The stream, a lot of time is over. Ugh. I feel bad for you, Kelly, because the soundtrack isn't bad, but the Parappa soundtrack is also not exactly good either. So there was a very like specific quote unquote controversy in this area where as you can see in this version, the guns that the enemies are shooting fire like Splatoon style paint blobs, but in the original these were actual guns that shot bullets at Spyro. Now I personally think that whole thing is just kinda silly. It's just a creative interpretation, and I frankly don't care whether that's a gun or not. It serves functionally the same purpose. And if you're Toys for Bob and marketing this to kids, I can see why you wouldn't want to go for the gun, for like the actual real life gun. I only mention that because I feel kind of quote-unquote contractually obligated to mention it, because peeps be dumb and need to be talked down to sometimes. But honestly, it's not a big deal. The only big deal is that I find these enemies are kind of hard to jump to dodge, and that was true when they were real guns. Yes, especially given the realities of the modern day, I could see why you wouldn't want to have fully rendered in silly cartoon graphics AK-47 assault rifle or whatever kind of machine gun they had in the original game. Because in the PS1 era, it still kind of looked cartoony. But doing that in here is kind of a whole different can of worms. These enemies, I'm actually having much better luck right now than I usually do. But these enemies can, in this particular level, can be a pain in the ass to avoid. They can be tricky. Save you.
Be on the lookout for Gnorc Commandos, Spyro.
They better be on the lookout for me.
I also love that there's dragons from like every homeworld, more or less, here to provide their aid. Like I saw a Dreamweaver's dragon, I saw some Artisan's dragons, I saw a Beastkeeper dragon. I don't know if I saw a Magic Crafters or Peacekeeper one yet, though I probably have. First off, we're going to use the Supercharge to destroy this chest. And then, there's another trick. As you can see, there are levers on this drawbridge. And using that, we raise the drawbridge, charge, and now we can get up here. sure I'm not going to miss anything. Because I remember when I played through this last time, I had an issue where I had forgotten a couple of gems. I think it was these three over here. Alright, the next gems are over yonder, which is what I want to see. Keep pointing me that way. Yeah, keep pointing that way, Spark. That's what I want to see. We're going to checkpoint here. Whew. That was a little close. I haven't gotten hit yet, so hopefully that keeps up. Hopefully the stream luck continues. Because this can be a rough section. This particular section can be really rough. Oh! Yep, that's a hit. Whew. So far so good though. Yes, keep pointing this way, Sparks. That's what I want to see. There we go. Alright. So far. Yep. Oh, I thought I was going to get hit there for a second. Hey, we did it! Nice job! Now let's see if I got everything before we hit exit on this. Beautiful. Now give it... Yes, that's what I want to see. Now... we are almost at the final boss. Final boss. Yeah, this world is shorter than other worlds. You may be tempted to as you see, the next stage is a fight against Gnasty Gnorc. There's a whole mouth over here that we haven't opened yet, and you're probably wondering why that is. But we will get to that in a second. But before we do, though, I do want to point out that that a lot of these background details, like that building over there, that lighthouse over there, and all of those rocks, just weren't in the original PS1 skybox. Like, when you look at the PS1 version of this hub world, it is mostly just this platform surrounded by water. Like the Ansem Seeker of Darkness, this island is a prison surrounded by water. This was very literally what this place was. So before we go on to the final boss, I do want to point that out and give credit to Toys for Bob where it's due, and just making this place seem a little more like a physical location and less like just a random island in the middle of nowhere with some impressive music surrounding it. But with that said, we have one more stage left before we beat the game. It is time to fight Gnasty Gnorc. I'm sure someone as big and tough as he is going to be a challenge. I'm sure he's going to be a big old brute who's ready to smack me down with his giant mace. Absolutely certain that this is going to be incredibly difficult, incredibly taxing. Just the strenuous, completely hard fight. Or he's just gonna sit there and shoot projectiles at me for a bit. Hang tight, boy. I'll be right with you in a sec. Got treasures to collect. Hey, I said hold tight. Don't be like that. Don't do me raw like that. That's unfair. Okay, so I'm actually kind of unsure how to process this fight in terms of commentary. Because on one hand, it's good to know that, it's good to know what your strengths are in terms of mechanics. It's good to know that you're better off doing, like, a platforming challenge as opposed to, like, a knockdown, drag-out fight with combat mechanics that are woefully inadequate for the job. On the other hand, this is really lame. Yes, Kelly, you can flame the thieves. There is no reason to, like, charge at them if the flame is that last bit of extra distance you need. It is so much easier to just toast them when they're close enough. It is so much easier. I would never try to just ram into them with a charge. That is a waste of your time. You've been playing this entire trilogy wrong. Yeah, it's a well-known kind of cheat to use that to get the extra height you need. Or the extra distance you need, so that you don't actually have to do the whole fucking chase. So, I'm ready to fight this brave man, his impressive mace, and... What are you doing?! What you running for?! Now, while I will want to chase him, and we will chase him, we will chase that cowardly Gnorc. More important, we gotta take this slow first and make sure we don't miss any treasure. Because we will have more than a fair shot at defeating Gnasty Gnorc, but right now we do kind of have to make sure we don't miss any of the gemmies. Yeah, just casually strutting along, making sure that all of our money is intact, because really in the day, dragons just want that cash. They just want them dollar bills, y'all. Make sure the count is accurate. Okay, that is exactly what I want to see. He's a fast runner, too. Holy crap. This might take a while, just because I've never been great at this particular chase. Or not. Or he'll just stand there and take it like a man. Well, a Gnorc. Ooh, that was close. All right. So let's do this. Let's fight.
You're toast, Gnorc.
Good fight. Good fight. I think. Hard to tell.
Sorry I took so long. Almost forgot about you guys.
What about Gnasty Gnorc?
Gnasty Gnorc is toast.
So now there's order again in the Dragon Kingdom?
Well, mostly. I've still got some treasure to find.
What will you do next?
I'd say the sky's the limit.
Yep, so we saved the Dragon Kingdom, and that is definitely the end of the game. For sure. 100%. We got everything. Nothing's missing. That's right, Kelly. The skybox is the limit. I like the concept art for this game. I don't know if I'm going to let this sit. So, FYI, the credits don't change from game to game. It's the same credit sequence that runs for all of them. So, odds are this will be the only time I actually let them scroll through all the way to give the developers their due. But once we go into Spyro 2 and 3, I'll just probably relink to this video if people want to watch the credits, or they could just play the game themselves, because this is a good game. You should play it. Ooh. Ooh, Xenochrist, that sounds horrible. I think I actually did that too once, where I also defeated Gnasty and fell to my death, and I think it didn't even count, so I had to start over from the beginning so I could actually get the level complete to beat the game. And that was painful. That was painful. I love all this art with Spyro playing with the adult dragons, just being a little goofball. It's really great. The art team for this game clearly had the time of their life designing the new looks for Spyro and his dragons and his dragon daddies. They did a really impressive job. I could not be happier with the way this remake turned out. And I'm overall really happy with this remake too. Like I said, Spyro 1 is probably my favorite of the 3 games. Although Ripto's Rage has some really good moments for me. And when we play that game, we'll get into those. But when I choose to replay, when I decide what game I want to replay in the Spyro trilogy, it's usually this one. It's just and part of that is because I am the guy that likes 100%ing a level when I first go through it. So since I can do that with Spyro 1, I tend to prefer playing that. But Ripto's Rage is also Ripto's Rage did a real good job in stepping up after the first game and really refining the mechanics of how Spyro moves and plays. With the addition of... Well, we'll get into that when we play Spyro 2. But with a couple of additions that make the game play a lot more smoothly. Plus the addition of power-ups that expand your moveset over the course of the game. So it does feel like Spyro is kind of growing as a character. Look at that mischievous little dwaggy. And overall this is a really, really solid platformer. It's not long. It's like this is the third stream. We're 5 hours into the game and we're already done 100% and even. But it's a game that I have played so many times. I must have played through Spyro 1 at least 10 or 12 times in my life. because it's just a game that I go back to over and over again. It's a game that's very nostalgic for me. It's a game that brings me back to a place in my life that I really, really enjoyed being. And what they did most impressively in this remake is kind of recapture that essence. This is, even up-res, even remade, still very much the game I fell in love with way back in the day. It is that game, and I couldn't be happier about it. And yeah, you're right, Riptor's Rage has Allura, and we'll get into Allura later, because I actually do have some things to say about Spyro 2 and that remake. But we'll get to that when we get to it. And it is always fun to see how a new team can approach an old material and bring forth their own interpretation of it. Because it would have been so easy to kind of stick to the plain geometry of the original game. It would have been so easy. But they didn't do that. They put in the love and the effort required to make this game shine. I don't know how much longer I can stand these credits rolling. I might actually just end it right here. Oh, I can't end it. Oh, yes, I can. Yeah, we're done. I'm shipping the pretense. We're not actually done this game. We have one more thing left to do. So if you recall at the beginning of the story, the Dragon Elder said that there was 12,000 treasure, or was it 14,000? Right now we have 12,000 treasure. And this last dragon doesn't become able to save until after you've beaten Gnasty Gnorc.
Gnasty's ancient history now. So, what's in there?
I believe this is Gnasty's treasure hoard. But the gate will only open if you have found everything in the Dragon Kingdom. Come back when you have reached 100%.
That's a good visual. So it turns out 12,000 is 100%, but there is actually 14,000 treasure. So we gotta try to get the rest of the treasure in this game, and that is stuck here in what is actually one of my favorite post-game bonuses in the game, in the trilogy. It's this level here, Gnasty's Loot. I love it. It's a really, really fun level. It's not long, but it is very fun. Just so you understand, Kelly, the thing that the mod said was a bad word was Gnasty's Loot. But the thing that makes this level really cool is that you have a modified variant of free flight from the flight levels. But this is not one of the flight levels. This is its own thing. As you can see, there's basically only 1025 gems. As you can see, there is a verticality element to this level. And that also comes into play. Yeah, there are a lot of thieves here in the loot, and they're here to get to steal our treasure from Gnasty's defeated clutches. And now that we have the key from the first thief, we can use it to open this door. And here we climb to a new height. And this is important because the higher you can climb, the higher you can stay in free flight. Our maximum flight height has increased because we have opened that door. And that is the push and pull of this level, is that you chase a thief, acquire a key, and that key opens a door that lets you go to a higher location level. And using that higher location, you can glide to even taller peaks and acquire more gems and more keys. And that is the loop of this level. And it is a very, very fun loop. It feels really good to be able to fly just a bit higher. But you see the level exit sign right there, and it just teases you knowing that you will eventually get that high. But before you do, you have to keep climbing through the not the ranks, but through the heights of this level. No, I don't see where the thief go. I think the thief went down here, if memory serves. Now you have thieves in planes, which you have to chase. I think I went through this wrong. I think there's a different thief that comes down through these tunnels. But I'm already at the end of it, so... oh well. But that is the core gameplay loop of this world, is acquire key, attain new height, get new key, and onward and onward. Of course, we also have rockets. And your sub goal, or I guess that's the main goal, is to acquire all the treasure here, and the sub goal is to obtain the height required to get to that treasure. Heights. Come over here and see what's waiting for us. Also, I love the soundtrack for this level. There's a nice pep to this stage that I really appreciate. There we go. He shot down. Toast. Yee, flame attack. And honestly, there's something that's also really satisfying about seeing that number just shoot up. Like when you acquire a whole message gems in this level, and that number shoots up from like 700 to 800, 900, when like the rest of the game you're getting like way less than that. That feels real good. That feels real good. So now we're at max height, so we can just go to the end, but we still need to figure out where this rocket is. Here it is. Here you are. Yep, that's where the last treasure is. So we're not going to use the exit just yet. And so our final reward is this room. This is the room where they film, where they put Gnasty in that beginning cutscene where he's on the where he's watching the TV. This is that room. And you see there's a bunch of demotivational posters here. That kind of like, they added this obviously in retrospect because demotivationals weren't a thing in the PS1 era. But this is a really funny little touch that I appreciate. Also, that is very satisfying. So is this. And watching that number just soar through the roof. Oh, watching that number go to 2,000. Oh, that feels so good. And yes, this is memes. And with that, we have completed everything in the game. And that is the actual ending of Spyro 1.
Spyro the Dragon,
You have saved all the Dragon Daddies. You've acquired all the treasure. You saved all the Dragon Eggs.
treasure in the Dragon Kingdom. How do you feel?
I feel fired up, Bob. And I'm happy for the Dragon World, of course. I certainly wouldn't want to spend the rest of my Dragon days butting heads with Gnasty Gnorc and his weird minions.
What's a minion?
Never mind. You know what they say. For every good battle, you need a good adversary. And I felt that Gnasty, in spite of his misguided nature, was a worthy opponent. Uh-oh. Here we go again.
And that is New Game Plus. Also, yes, what's a minion? That's a funny line. And then the thing to deposit you at Artisan Homeworld when the game is over. There we go. And so that's it. As for what's behind this door, we'll never know. Could be something good, could be something bad, but we'll never know. I also like, you mentioned that, Xenochrist, that you see when Spyro sports artisan tools. I like that visually Spyro is very clearly an artisan homeworld dragon. Like he looks like the dragons from this world. Like this is clearly his home out of the worlds in the dragon realms. It is a fun little touch where like that design does kind of carry through. Yeah, you can charge this door. It doesn't do anything, but it is a thing that like people have eternally speculated what's behind the door. It's probably nothing. But people, being people, love to guess and make work. Like, is there a DLC they're going to add later? No, probably not. Probably not. Spyro fan 69420. That's probably not the way this is going to go down. But no, it's still kind of cool that there's this little detail here. And we still have 15 minutes left before I had to call it quits. So while we have wrapped up Spyro, what I think I'm going to do, since people are here and we're having fun, I'm going to take a moment to drop off the stream, and I'm going to put Crash 1 in, and we're going to start Crash 1 right now. So give me like 2 or 3 minutes to prepare, and I'll be right back with you guys.